Ciao, my name is Umberto Mucci and this is We the ItaliaNews, a podcast about Italy during coronavirus times. Today is Thursday, March 17, 2022. Ordinary hospitalizations and COVID intensive care units in Italy are again on the rise, even if only slightly, as the epidemic curve is confirmed to be on the rise too. Despite this, the Italian regions are asking the government to abandon some restrictions by Easter. Today, the Italian government will make new decisions on this. At the time I record this video, we are still not sure what they are, but it is likely that today will be announced a timetable for exit from the state of emergency based on the epidemiological situation. It is easy to imagine that masks will continue to be mandatory in enclosed places. Most Western countries have based their containment measures now on the incidence of the disease measured by hospitalizations, intensive care and deaths, and not on the simple test positivity. In Europe, the severe disease is continuously decreasing, while there is a likely steady increase of positives, more than 90% asymptomatic. Even in Italy, vaccination has avoided and continues to avoid many deaths and hospitalizations. What is certain, however, is that the pandemic is not at all over, and the attention is dangerously lacking in the daily life of all Italians. Italy has not been particularly active in becoming a military power since World War II. The NATO umbrella has always worked very well for us, and for years now there has not even been an obligation to do a year of military service. The Italian army is now made up of soldiers who have chosen this profession, as well as the Navy and the Air Force. Once instead, for a year, all Italian males were enlisted, usually at the end of high school, and this in the past decades has meant much more than just military. The military conscription was the time when Italian boys grew up, learned discipline, lived away from home for the first time, and merged together with their peers from other parts of Italy. Italy has never spent 2% of its GDP on defense, as would be required by the NATO treaty that we have signed and ratified. But yesterday, a decision taken at the House of Deputies and voted by all parties has asked to reach this percentage. It's a historic decision, however you think about it, that could never have arrived without the war in Ukraine, and it comes after a few days ago a recommendation of the Italian army had given orders to the Italian troops to reduce the leaves of absence and to orient the training to war fighting. This, which is not really something so alarming, was enough to worry many people here in Italy. There is still a lot of concern, even if those who are thinking straight know that no Italian soldiers will leave for the front. However, this is the largest flow of people fleeing never seen since World War II, and they all are coming to Europe. The emergency due to the war arrived in Italy at a time when we were slowly recovering from the pandemic, but already suffering from the high cost of energy and the rise in inflation, which is confirmed. In February in Italy had reached 5.7%, the highest level since November 1995, with a streak of 8 consecutive months of growth. According to an estimate that is based on the damage already done, but which necessarily cannot accurately predict the future, the dramatic situation of the Italian economy today puts 184,000 small and medium-sized companies at risk of default, with a consequent loss of 1.4 million jobs. These are numbers that concern more than 10% of the workforce engaged in small and medium-sized Italian enterprises, and equally equivalent to about 10% of the total number of companies of that size active in Italy today. The government is working on some measures, the cut of 15 cents in the cost of fuel, the installment of bills, and the support for the Italian companies. But the situation of the Italian budget was already difficult. Any decision that will be taken in these days will not be able to solve all the economic problems caused by this perfect storm, of which there is no end in sight. The forecasts now indicate that there is a risk of Italy losing 3% of GDP this year. And this would mean that compared to the forecasts of 4% growth made before the war, Italy would return to grow very little as it did before the COVID. That is only 1% in this 2022. Another problem that has been weighing down Italy for years is that of bureaucracy. You know that, coupled with the NIMBY syndrome, not in my backyard, as to say, build whatever you want but not close to my house. It has very often caused the loss of opportunities and innovation for ideological reasons. This is the case of the gas that lies under our territory, which we have always done without, without investing and buying it from abroad, with the result that for the future we have to remedy a very complicated situation in a very small time. There is a sea of gas under the Italian territory that is not exploited for bureaucratic and ideological reasons, the same ones that have opposed for years, for example, the arrival of the pipeline that brings gas from Azerbaijan to Puglia until it was unblocked only a couple of years ago, and it's a good thing, a wonderful thing, luckily, that we succeeded to unblock it that time. Throughout Italy, on land and at sea, 1,298 methane extraction wells have been surveyed to date, including large and small ones, of which 752 are listed as inactive, although they are far from being exhausted. In the Adriatic Sea alone, in the year 2000, marine drilling platforms extracted about 17 billion cubic meters per year, which has fallen by 95% in 20 years to reach only 800 million in 2021. Overall, Italy is stuck at 3.3 billion cubic meters per year of its own extraction, only 6% of national consumption, although experts agree on a potential of 10 times as much, or 30 billion cubic meters per year. Italians could count, more or less, for half of their methane needs on national wells. And it's not just a matter of geopolitical convenience. Domestic gas would in fact cost 5 cents per cubic meter instead of the 70 cents of imported gas. During 2021, the regional record of extraction from the mainland belonged to Basilicata, followed by Sicily and Emilia-Romagna. As for marine extraction, the area in first place for last year is the North Adriatic Sea in front of Emilia-Romagna to the east of the peninsula. The leading web platform in Italy to buy and sell used goods in 2021 recorded a double-digit growth compared to an already positive 2020. Italians are starting to buy used stuff. The used car market, after the peak recorded during the coronavirus emergency, confirms itself as well-established choice among the buying habits of Italians. And it wasn't like this in the previous years. The most visited category is confirmed as cars, with a growth of 10.5% year-on-year. This is followed at a short distance by the motorcycles and scooters sector, but the category that has had the greatest percentage growth is that of caravans and motorhomes, plus 23.5%. The 2020 trend of vacations in freedom and safety is confirmed. It's all for now. It's all for today. Once again, please stay safe, protect yourselves. Please take care of yourselves. My name is Umberto Mucci. This was We the ItaliaNews. I'll see you next Monday. Please stay safe. Ciao from Rome.